Ark Raiders has a retention problem, and Embark's answer is a 6-month wait. That might work, but only if the problem is content. Right now, I'm not convinced it is. Nearly 3 weeks ago, Embark told everyone still playing the game that the next major update isn't until October. The same studio, Embark, just told the finals players the next big drop is in a few weeks. And the Ark Raiders player count over those 19 days has done something I don't think anyone is talking about yet. Okay, so let me back up. Ark Raiders dropped in late October last year, and it went massive. By November 16th, 2.5 weeks after launch, it hit 481,000 concurrent players on Steam. Huge number for a brand new extraction shooter. November averaged 264,000. Then February through April it just kept dropping, about a third of who was left every single month. The 30-day average is now 60,000, so that's a 75% drop since January. Then Riptide shipped on April 28th. Embark called it the biggest content drop yet, the finale of their escalation arc, and the players hated it. The Steam recent reviews slipped mixed within days from the first time since launch. The biggest complaint was the weapon durability change. Common tier weapons now burn 75% more durability per shot, and uncommon tier burn 50% more. 2 weeks later, on May 13th, Embark posted about a cadence change. So Embark's executive producer, Alexander Grondel, posted the actual breakdown on May 13th. The short version is that they originally planned monthly updates, but the pressure of a monthly cycle was limiting how impactful each drop could be. So major updates are moving to twice a year. Bigger in scale, the goal being, quote, to genuinely change how you play the game. The next one is Frozen Trail, lands in October, and Embark is calling it the largest update since launch. The dedicated live service team keeps running Ark Raiders day to day, so balance fixes, bug fixes, store updates, player events. The TLDR is one big drop in October, and roughly every 3 weeks they push something smaller in between. Hold on to genuinely change how you play the game. That's the bar Embark sets for itself. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Embark also runs the finals. Same studio, same team making both games. And the finals is on quarterly seasons. Season 10 launched in late March and ends June 21st, which is a 90-day cycle. Embark's own plan for the finals is 3 regular seasons a year, plus a bigger drop on top. So Embark is running 2 live service games, where one of them is on a 3-month rhythm, and the other one just moved to 6 months. And as far as Embark is publicly said, the headcount on both games is roughly the same. So one of them is being prioritised over the other. Embark just hasn't told us which one. Honestly, I think the cadence math kind of says it for them. And here's the part I think most people haven't actually checked. It's been 19 days since the May 13th post, and Ark Raiders' concurrent player count hasn't fallen off a cliff. The 30-day average is holding right around 60,000. Batches 1.29 and 1.30 both shipped during that window. So whatever Embark hoped that post would do, it didn't trigger the mass exodus a lot of people were expecting. But it also didn't reverse the slow decline that was already happening. Frozen Trail being 6 months out from a mixed review state, though, is a real bet, and the bet is harder than it sounds, because the community is arguing about 2 things at once that both feed into the same retention problem. 1, the endgame feels flat. Players that have run the same Ark encounters, the same extraction loops, the same harvester moments since launch. The complaint is everywhere. How many times can we do the same harvester event? 2, the content that is left feels increasingly hostile. Steam threads about extraction camping, shoot on site encounters, raids that end with somebody 3-tapping you from a bush 30 seconds before extract. A new biome in October goes at problem 1, it really doesn't touch problem 2. Okay, so how does this compare to the rest of the extraction shooter genre? Because the cadences in this space are all over the place right now. Tarkov hit 1.0 in November. Post-launch, Battlestate games switched to a model where your main character stays persistent, plus an opt-in seasonal mode you can join if you want a wipe experience. The first proper post-launch season is targeted for late summer, so about 6 months out, but they haven't actually committed publicly to a fixed cadence yet. Marathon launched March 5th. Bungie is running quarterly seasons. Season 2, Nightfall, drops tomorrow, June 2nd. Season 3 picks up in August. So Marathon is on roughly a 3-month rhythm. So when you put it all together, Marathon at 3 months, the final at 3 months, Tarkov in the 6-month neighbourhood, Ark Raiders just moved to 6. The closest game to Ark Raiders' new cadence is actually Tarkov, which is also the extraction shooter with the most loyal hardcore audience and the lowest churn ceiling. The risk is that Ark Raiders adopts a hardcore game cadence before it has earned a hardcore game level of loyalty. And one more thing about all of this. Marathon Season 2 reveal landed on May 25th, 2 weeks after Embark's cadence post. So inside a single fortnight you've got 2 extraction shooters basically fighting for the same returning player attention. One saying, "We're slowing down, we'll see you in October." The other saying, "We're back in a few days." And Nightfall lands right inside the 6-month gap Embark just left in Ark Raiders' schedule. I think there are 3 things that have to happen between now and October. First, the 3-week patches have to actually start fixing what players keep posting about. There's 2 pressures stacking right now. 1, the endgame feels exhausted. Same harvester event, same Ark encounters, same extraction loop. 2, the PvP experience is wearing people down. Top Steam community threads from the last month are posting things like, "PvP is becoming so toxic it's becoming unplayable. Extract camping, shoot on sight." Posts with thousands of upvotes asking for a bounty system on griefers, or just a PvE mode. The photoelectric cloak nerf has its own 4,000 upvote thread calling it useless. Embark already walked back about half the durability nerf in patch 1.29. The Renegade got 54% of its life back, so they can move fast when they choose to. The question is whether the next 4 months of 3-week patches go on both pressures, or just keep rebalancing weapons while the staleness and the toxicity keep compounding. Second, Frozen Trail has to ship genuinely new content, not retooled arcs. Players want monsters with the design language of the Leaper or the Matriarch, an endgame loop that isn't some harvester loop, and a real progression rebuild, not the same encounters with new skins. That's the bar Embark set for themselves with, quote, "to genuinely change how people play the game." Anything less than the 6-month wait was for nothing. And third, the player count has to hold above 30,000 by August. The lowest concurrent count this past week already dropped to around 30,000. If that becomes the average instead of the bottom, Embark is going to be launching Frozen Trail into a game that's already too small for one content drop to bring people back. None of those 3 things are guaranteed, but honestly, none of them are impossible either. The next 4 months are going to tell which one Embark actually got right. So I'm going to be watching 2 numbers for the next 4 months. Whether Frozen Trail actually ships in October, and whether the player count holds above 30,000 by the end of August. If both land, the cadence shift was the right move. If either one slips, it wasn't. If you want the follow-up, drop a like and subscribe. I'll check these numbers again in August, and I'll be back with a Marathon Season 2 post-mortem next month. I'll also be playing through whatever Embark ships over the summer on Twitch. Links in the description if you want to come watch. Until then, see you topside.